Hey everyone, welcome to Kingdom Builder TV. I'm your host, Kelly Mead, and I'm so happy to be joined by a new artist whose song Stand on Your Promises is out everywhere now. Kate Stanford, it's so great to have you on the show.
It is so great to be back. Kelly, you're just awesome. You're an amazing host. And fun fact to all of our listeners, we actually met at Kingdom Bound Music Festival in Buffalo, New York, actually in person. So I feel like we go way back, and it's just amazing to be back on.
And this is actually your third time on because the first time was when we had our audio show when your Christmas EP
That's
released, and
right.
then last year on location at Kingdom Bound, which was just so much fun.
That was so fun. And I remember it was like right before my set, and you guys just like kind of chilled with me and talked. It was so much fun. So yeah, I'm happy to be back.
So you've been releasing music the past few years as an independent artist with songs like I'm a Believer and Till Love and Your Heart and the new song, which we'll talk about soon. Each one of those are so like fresh and unique, and you have such a cool sound on them. So thinking back to some of your influences growing up and your musical memories and different experiences that you've had, what was one of your first that really kind of made an impact on you musically?
I have a statement that really resonated with me. So, my first voice teacher, vocal coach, music coach, performance coach, whatever you want to call it, we were having a conversation. And I remember I was trying to sing, I think, like a Demi Lovato song for the school talent show. And she looked at me and she was like, Kate, do not emulate other artists. You're trying to sound like Demi, right? At the time. She was like, I want you to sound like Kate. Whatever that may sound like, I want you to sound like her. And from that moment forward, I tried to say, okay, I can take inspiration from other artists, but what is down to the core me and what I want to put out to the world? And that really resonated with me going forward into making songs like Your Heart, Till Love, I'm a Believer, specifically Your Heart, because I mean, I might just not be aware of them, but in the Christian music industry, I personally haven't heard a song that brings that kind of vibey 70s flair to Christian pop. So I took a little risk there and I put it out into the world knowing it wasn't mainstream, but I was happy to do so.
And what drew you towards pursuing music as a career?
I vividly remember it started when I was pretty young. I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and I was really into Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus with her blonde wig. This was Miley in her Disney era, keep in mind. This is not current Miley. So I remember watching that show and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I would like to sing like Hannah Montana. So I was like, hey mom, like, can we do the school talent show? And she was like, sure. So we came up with some choreography and we picked a song, and I did Best of Both Worlds by Hannah Montana at like 6 years old. And from that young age, I just remember being like, oh my goodness, this is fun. Like I get a rush from this. This is amazing. And clearly I couldn't comprehend, what was to come, right, at that young age. And I started getting into classical music when I was, growing up middle school, high school. So I was a classical singer, but I also did pop as well. And I actually went to the University of Texas at Austin, going in as a vocal performance major. But I quickly realized that that wasn't my calling or my passion in this world, because I was just like, I feel so creatively stifled. I feel like I'm put into this box, and I'm a very creative, outward person. And I'm like, this is just not for me. So it was before that that I started kind of getting into Christian music, CCM, pop. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, I need to just take this and run with it. And that's when I did kind of the full pivot and kind of just put that to the side, classical music to the side. I'm like, I'm not going to fit into a box anymore. I want to wake up every single day and be my authentic self and to write music through a Christian lens, because that identity is so important to me, being a Christian. So that's kind of the story behind that.
That's awesome. And I think that with the classical training that you had as well, that can also help. And I can definitely hear that in your voice as you're singing. And it's something that I have noticed throughout listening to you. Like your voice has gotten even stronger, I think, over the years. So probably that training helped in a lot of ways as well.
It definitely did, and, like, I will tell you it helps because I feel like my voice has always been healthy, and I've always gone about it in a healthy way. I haven't been trying to push, I haven't been trying to do any of that, but it's also kind of not helpful because it's a lot of different placements vocally. So, like, I was kind of singing in the back of my throat classically, and I was up a really and, like, I was a really high soprano, so I was singing all the way up to the sky, but and as you know, in popular Christian music, it's pretty, mid to lower register. You're not that the placement's not there. The placement's right in the mask. It's, you're putting it forward. So it was definitely a learning curve when I was kind of learning how to hone that more, you know, CCM pop voice. So yeah, just a little tidbit about that.
Well, I think that's really cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm a nerd about that stuff. So love to talk about it.
So the new single, Stand on Your Promises. This is one that I personally have been really looking forward to and super excited about ever since you shared like the little sneak peek demo. It's like there've been a few songs this year that have come out that as soon as I heard just that little bit, I'm like, "Oh, this is something special." And this is definitely one of them. So I'm so happy that everybody gets to hear it now. Can you
Oh, thank
share
you
some
so
of
much.
the inspiration and the process of writing Stand on Your Promises?
Absolutely. So I collaborated with Sam Hart to co-write this song, and he also produced this song for me. And I went into the co-write knowing exactly what I wanted to write about. I was like, Sam, I want to write a almost an anthem because I don't have an anthem like that. I want an anthem. I want it to be authentic, and I want it to be surrounding this story. And the story is my battle with just chronic pain, chronic migraines. I was going through a really tough time around this time last year. Honestly, last year was really hard for me. I was waking up every single day with pain, could barely get out of bed, was nauseous, couldn't see out of one eye. If you don't struggle with migraines, you don't really understand. It's not just a headache, it affects your whole body, it affects your mental health. And one thing about me is I'm going to keep it real. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was depressed. I like really didn't see an end in sight, and clearly you only see the positive things of me on social media, what I show you, and no one really knew. Um so I wanted to write an anthem to the audience to say, whether you're struggling with mental pain, physical pain, you're struggling spiritually in your personal life, it doesn't matter, because Jesus is going to carry your burdens, and you can stand on his promises, and you're going to get through it, basically. And that's exactly what we wrote about. And I don't think I've shown this too much on the snippets, but one of my favorite lyrics of the song is the first verse, and it says, I've known pain in my heart, I've known pain in my body. I ask God those questions time and again. And in those lyrics, it's kind of showing that I was reckoning with God. We're not perfect, right? We can't just say, I have full trust in God every single day. I am perfect every single day. No, it is okay to reckon. It is okay to ask God questions because he is our father. And that's what I wanted to convey through that lyric.
Yes, 100% yes. I
Yeah.
definitely like I've struggled with different times feeling similarly to where like you almost feel like you aren't supposed to question God sometimes.
Right.
Because you understand like he knows what's going on and he's got it in control. We know that. We believe that. But at the same time, he wants us to ask him those questions. He wants us to have that conversation because that's what helps to build the relationship even more. And it helps us to deepen our faith and then in turn be able to encourage others in that way too.
Yes. Totally. And like, I don't think it's reasonable to ask anyone on this earth and say, you can never question God and his plan for you. It's like, no, I think we should honestly do the opposite and be super engaged with God and have those conversations. It's like he wants relationship, and like he knows we're human. He knows our nature. Like he created us. So that's yeah, what I really wanted to convey.
So since we talked last summer at Kingdom Bound, you've had quite a few big things happen, and it's been so cool getting to see how you've grown as an artist and a singer and songwriter. So what are a couple of ways that God has been working in your life through these experiences and to help you like grow in music in general?
This year has actually, I guess the last 8 months, it hasn't been a year yet, but it has been the year of growth for me, because I'm going to be so honest with you and say that doing all of this is so outside of my comfort zone. Moving to Nashville was out of my comfort zone, way out of my comfort zone. Not knowing anyone was out of my comfort zone. Going to all these writers' rounds and networking and introducing myself and being in these writers' rooms, I have experienced so much imposter syndrome. And the thing is, I'm gonna be real. Like it is very hard for me to do all these things, but yet it has been one of the most rewarding things I have ever done in my entire life because I am proving to myself each and every day that I can do the hard things and I can do it. So it has been just such a transformative year for me. And I think that each step of the way, God has put his hand on my shoulder and just kind of pushed me and said, okay, go into that room, get your name out there, you know, get out there for those writers rounds, etc. So it's been amazing. And with the good days comes the harder days, but that's just a part of the process. And I think God is going to do it all for his greater plan. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so cool how he can just, like you're saying, he can just give us that little push we need when it's
Right.
something that he has opened that door for us to walk through, and we're like, I don't know about this.
Yes.
But then he'll
Yes,
be like, nope,
exactly.
go, you're good. I'm with you. We've got
Yes.
this.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's just been so many instances where, kind of like fake it till you make it, where I think the Holy Spirit has just taken over for me. And I'm like, that was incredible and an incredible door that just opened. Like, there's no way that like I could have just done that. There's just been so much divine intervention in the last year. So I'm so grateful.
You mentioned making the move to Nashville. What has been one of your favorite parts about living there?
So if you guys didn't know, I moved from Austin, Texas, and the climates are actually very different. So in Austin, it's like sunny 24/7 and really, really hot. And Nashville, everyone's always like, it's the South, it's the South. I'm like, I am from Louisiana and Texas. That is the South. This feels like the Northeast to me because I am a true Southern girl. I'm from South Louisiana. So this was the first winter I've experienced a snow in. And I know you're from New York, so you're probably like, oh, like that's not a real snow in. No, it was a real snow in to me. Could not drive my car for like a week. So I was just chilling, working from home, doing my stuff. But it was, I'm not used to the snow, but it was stunning because Nashville has just a very hilly topography and seeing the snow just like on the trees and on the road, I was just like, I feel like I'm in a postcard right now. It's so pretty. So that was amazing experiencing like the seasons for the first time too, seeing a real fall because South Louisiana and Texas do not have fall. It's either really, really hot or like mildly cold. No, we had a fall, we had a winter, spring, summer. So that's been amazing. Just, you know, location wise.
Yeah, I remember when you guys had all that snow, and I was like, you guys have more snow than we do. That's not fair.
No, exactly. Because I remember we were talking about the inches or whatever, and you were like, I think you have more inches of snow than me right now. And I'm like, that is crazy business. You're in upstate New York. Like,
Yep.
what? What? Yeah. So that was really cool.
So you stay quite active on social media throughout like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. And something that I love about how you use it is you do use it to encourage people, especially young women. But a lot of things that you share is really applicable for all ages because I know that it's really like God has used what you've posted in my life quite a few times. Love how you are able to engage like that.
Well, yeah, I like to say that I am a Christian singer-songwriter, and I take that role of the content creator because I have a love for social media because I think it comes from my love of people and connection. And social media is just a great tool for me to connect with people and build a community. And the way that I look at it is, yes, I want to get my music out there and I want to promote myself. That's what we have to do as artists. But my number one priority is to connect and to build that community and to help other people because I know in this day and age with social media and everything, sometimes digital community is all people have. And if I can make someone's day by posting some content that can lift them up and encourage them, then I'm doing a good job. So it's just been wonderful. And I have gotten so many DMs from people of all ages, all genders, etc., saying, hey, I really appreciate your content. It's gotten me through some hard days. And One post in particular I did, 5 things I wish I knew as a teenager, as a now 22-year-old. And I kid you not, I could show you right now. I have pages and pages of message requests from teenage girls and young girls saying, "Hey, can I get your advice on this?" Or, "Hey, I really appreciated that video. I've been going through some issues with my friend group," etc. And I kid you not, like I cried tears of joy that day because I'm like, I want to be the person who I needed when I was 11, 12 years old. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job of that. So it has just been so rewarding doing social media in that way.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes I feel like it can be like a double-edged sword in some ways because there's
Right.
so much good that can come out of it and there's also a lot of bad, but I think that God can use the good so much in people's lives that it makes it worth it. And like you said, being able to build community and meet people and like being a fellow creative myself, it's like I've met so many wonderful fellow creators and like, craft folks and music artists and all that kind of stuff. And it's just really cool to get to have that connection with you guys.
Totally. It's been amazing. And yeah, definitely a double-edged sword. Like social media is like it can be very draining because one thing about me, I'm a little bit not like a workaholic, but I take work with me everywhere because it's like you're basically an entrepreneur when you're an independent artist. So like I'll just be like chilling and then I'm like, let me go reply to comments. And I'm like, wait, like no, I can't just be working around the clock 24/7. So that's been something I've had to navigate. And also just people can be really hateful on social media and just learning like, hey, don't take that personally. They just must be struggling and like I should pray for them because a fulfilled, happy person probably wouldn't be commenting things like that on my page and like coming to troll me.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, and I gotta restrain myself because sometimes I want to be like, I want to, say a little response, be like, that's not very nice. And I'm like, just don't engage. Don't engage, Kate. Like you're fine.
In addition to singing and writing your own songs, I know that you love listening to your fellow artists and you're a big music fan yourself. So who would be some of your dream collaborations to write and or sing with?
Oh man. Okay. He's huge right now, but Forrest Frank, I think we would have a really good rapport with one another and like vibe really well because I don't know him personally, but just based on his social media, he seems to be very high energy and a really great creative. So I think that not only will we be friends, but we would also, creatively come up with some really great songs. I would also love, oh man, this is a hard one. Probably Henrik. He, like, kind of does some rap. He's also an independent artist. I feel like if he would put some rap in one of my pop songs, that would be so cool. Also, another rapper like Holvey or KB, if they did rap with one of my, like, pop songs again, that would be incredible. Like, I would cry. That would be amazing. So, those are just to name a few.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
With the release of Stand on Your Promises, and I know you've got some other songs that are in the works coming up soon, what is one of your hopes for your music as it reaches more people?
I would say my common theme in all of my songs is that you are enough and you are worthy and you are a child of God. And that should be enough, no matter what the world says. And that's kind of what I portray on my social media, in addition to all of my songs. And clearly, the themes are going to vary a little bit from song to song. But again, stand on your promises, no matter what you're going through, God's got your back. He has you covered. And I always want to leave people better than I find them. And clearly that's God's job, but I want to be an instrument for God and say like, hey, like I want to lift people up. I want to help people as much as I can through my songs and through social media.
Yes, I think that God definitely can plant the seeds in people's lives and then he'll help it grow and like working through us as we're interacting with people or as musician being able to, create those songs and put it out there and, not really knowing how it's going to like where it's going to go, but if God has it and he will use it in the way that it's meant to be used and I think Stand on Your Promises is going to be one that he's going to use in a really big way in a lot of people's lives. So again, like I can't help but say it again. I'm just really excited about it.
Thank you so much. I am so excited too. And like, This is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever wrote in my entire life. So I am pumped as well.
So I definitely want to make sure to encourage everyone to visit katestanfordmusic.com, connect with Kate on social media. I'll link all of her website and socials in the description of our video, so it'll be easy to find. And also be sure to stream Stand on Your Promises and all the rest of her songs everywhere you listen to music. Kate, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure talking to you. And I just want to brag on Kelly and say that she is just always so encouraging and so kind. And I encourage you guys to also go check out her stuff. She is an amazing artist herself, and she makes amazing, what would you call them? Not crafts. That sounds too rudimentary. What would you say? What would you call them? Just like
Um,
artwork or
yeah, art pieces with wood and leather and different things like that.
yeah, she's awesome. So go check her out. So thank you again for having me.